Alright, so today I'm gonna talk about a topic that I've been thinking about for some time, but I haven't made like an actual video or talked to anybody with. So I'm just gonna give my opinion, or pretty much just gonna ask questions on what makes a game hard. Now, here's the thing. I don't know where all these people coming from saying, no, this game is hard, and back in the day games used to be hard and now they're super easy. And I understand what they're saying to a certain degree, but I don't know how to make a game hard. Now, listen to me first and then make your own conclusions, of course. So, what makes a game hard? Is it the nature of the game? Now, JRPGs, for example, are very grindy, right? You have to grind to level up. So, because, I mean, if you're like low level, you go against a boss, you probably will die if you're low level. So, they suggest you to get, like, grind more levels so you can get, like, better, so you kill the boss easier. Now, is that hard? No. Is it annoying? Yeah. Okay. So, platformers, right? You need precise jumping. That makes it hard because you have to basically know when to jump and know when to shoot. So Mega Man, stuff like that. Yeah, okay. Those games are hard. But then we get into a different kind of type of game, different genres. And here's where it gets tricky. Okay. So let's say we're playing Metal Gear, right? So is Metal Gear the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1? Now I can't play it. Now it seems hard to me because the controls are outdated. Okay. But let's say somebody's playing it back in 1998, right? So they don't have unlimited lives. They don't. If he dies, he can replay the level again and again until he beats it. Now, was the original Metal Gear Solid hard? In my perspective, I don't think so. I beat some of the bosses, and I'm like a new gamer, so I like a young gamer. So back in the day, it shouldn't be hard for people to do that, right? And that was kind of like a third-person, not really shooter, but a third-person action game, right? Okay. So apart from that, how can Metal Gear be hard? Was Metal Gear hard? No. Okay, let's bring GoldenEye. GoldenEye was one of the first-person shooter, right? Beloved by much. And I saw a gameplay of somebody. He was breezing through GoldenEye. Now, I'm not saying GoldenEye is the easiest first-person shooter. It probably isn't. But it didn't seem like a difficult game. And especially it didn't seem difficult for somebody who for people who grew up with that game. Okay, so was GoldenEye hard? Probably not. And then I think about other games and new games start to come up, old games, and they don't seem hard, and not even for their time. So I want to ask, what makes a game hard? So is it limited lives? I don't think so. Although Mario had that, but Mario's not hard. Mario's not hard, definitely not hard. There's some challenging levels for sure, but it's not hard. Is it broken or stiff mechanics? Because I know some games play like garbage. I forgot which game was it. I was playing a retro game, and it played trash. It was like an old game, like nobody cared about that game, and it played like trash, and it was super hard. Not because it was challenging. It was just because it was super hard, and the controls were stiff. Now, is it a limited number of resources in the game? For example, like let's say The Last of Us, right? Grounded mode is difficult to a certain extent because you don't have enough things. Like you don't have enough things to make a Molotov, or you don't have enough bullets and stuff like that. So I could see how The Last of Us is hard in that perspective. But is it really hard? Because is the game hard? No, it's just those limited things just make it a little bit more difficult, but it's not that hard. So my basic question is, what would you do to make a game hard? Because everybody's always complaining, no, this game is easy, these games are easy. But apart from side scroller, how would you make a first-person shooter hard? Do you what? You do die with one bullet? They did that. They already did that with World at War, and that was BS. Playing that shit on veteran? Oh my goodness. You have to run through the map to get some parts. Like, you have to run because they keep spawning and you can't pass that part. Unless you run, straight run, don't even shoot. So how do you make a first-person shooter hard? Do you make it like you don't have ammo? See, that's the problem. There's not a, I don't know how to say it. There's not a meter that measures how hard a game can be, and there's not a good mechanic that measures how hard a game can be. How do you make a third-person shooter hard? Like I said, The Last of Us random mode is a little bit challenging because you don't have the resources. But let's say something like Uncharted. On crushing, it's not hard. It's annoying because you die with 3 bullets, but it's not hard. And that's why people say. Now, how would you make Uncharted hard? Is it possible? I don't think so. How do you make Metal Gear Solid 5 hard? I don't know. How do you make the original Metal Gear Solid hard? I don't think it was hard. So all those games, like pretty much all games except side scroller and a couple of action games, all games are easy. So I don't know why people complaining about hard games now. Like, I'm not saying back in the day there weren't harder games, because there certainly was. But I don't know how would you make a third-person shooter or first-person shooter hard. Now, examples of fair hard games: Mega Man, of course. That's the best example of fair hard game, because, well, there's some parts that are BS, like some parts that you don't know what's gonna happen. You drop into a stage and that's it, you're dead. But for the most part, it's really fair. Like, you die by an enemy, it's your fault. Like, it's usually your fault. You didn't jump at the right time, etc., etc. Bloodborne is really fair to a certain extent too. Like, killing a boss and stuff like that, it's your problem. And I actually think Bloodborne is pretty fair. But again, that's one type of game. Battletoad and beat 'em up side scrollers are pretty difficult, but again, that's one certain type of genre. I don't know how you would make all the type of genres hard. That's basically my question. How would you make a first-person shooter hard? How would you make a third-person shooter hard? And how would you make, I don't know, something like a JRPG hard? Because JRPGs are hard just because you have to grind, basically. Few JRPG, well, not few, but some JRPGs don't require like a lot of skill, unless they require you like to think outside the box or stuff like that. Or you know, you have to play strategically. But a lot of JRPGs, if you're like 5 levels above the boss, you're probably gonna beat it without strategy. That's what I'm saying. Now, that's basically my question. Like, I can't think of games right now, but what other games can be hard? Like, let me see a classic that wasn't hard, or a type of genre that is not I think it's impossible to make hard. I just don't understand it. Like first-person shooter, third-person shooters, puzzle games. In their nature, they're hard, so that can never change. But I don't know, man. It's just my opinion. I just don't see. I don't see how you can make a certain type of genre hard, since it was never hard to begin with. I don't think third-person shooters were ever hard to begin with. And if they ever were hard, it was because you died instantly. But I don't know. So yeah, I just want to know, like, how could you make a first or third-person shooter hard? Since everybody's always, you know, complaining about games are too easy, how would you make it hard? And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, if you want to comment or something on Twitter, I don't know. Yeah, hit me up. Alright, bye bye.